You are welcome once again to my live training sessions. In 2025, it shall be a regular thing that I'll do, whereby every weekend I'll come your way again and again with live video sessions. I'll be answering questions that you ask on every video across my channel. So look out for that session where every question that you will ask, I'll take time out every weekend to answer your questions elaborately on a live video. So look out for that. In today's session, we are going to be continuing with the digital video recorder that we started some weeks ago. And so we'll do a recap of the digital video recorder and its functions, and we'll as well look at the installation of a hard disk drive or a surveillance drive into a digital video recorder. I'll crown it up with your questions that we'll ask in this particular live session, and we'll end it there. So let's get to the practical table so that we get started. So this is an example of a DVR or a digital video recorder. What you see here is the front of the DVR, but as I said in my earlier lesson, I mentioned that most of the activity happens at the back of the DVR. And so this is the back of a DVR, a typical digital video recorder. I mentioned in my earlier lesson that a digital video recorder or DVR is mostly identified by the fact that there are BNC inputs found on the DVR. I also mentioned that the BNC inputs determine the number of channels or the number of cameras that the DVR can take. So for example, this DVR is a 4-channel DVR because it has provision to receive 4 AHD or analog cameras. So this is a 4-channel DVR. And so as I've already mentioned, these are the BNC inputs through which video from the cameras are fed into the digital video recorder or the DVR. Now we also have an audio output, that is the A output here. It's an audio output so that cameras that support sound or that have microphone on them can have their sound heard through the audio output. Closely followed after that port is the HD output or the HDMI output port. This is the point where you can connect to your TV screen. That is the TV screen that has HDMI input. We also have a VGA port for screens that use the VGA. And you can both use the HDMI port and the VGA at the same time, whereby you can connect this DVR to either an HDMI enabled output screen or through the VGA connection. We also have the audio input ports here. There are 4 audio input ports because this is a 4-channel DVR whereby all 4 cameras may have audio or microphone attached to them whereby they can pick sound. So that's the reason why we have the 4 audio input ports. Here are other ports aligned here. The top one is what we call the Ethernet port. The one I'm showing to the camera where my hand is the Ethernet port. This is where you can put in internet into the DVR so that you can have internet connection on the DVR for remote login purposes or having internet to be able to view the cameras online. As well, there are USB ports, 2 USB ports where you can take the recordings of the video recorder onto a flash drive or onto a hard drive of which you want to back up your data on, and then also for mouse connection. So that's the reason for the 2 USB ports. We also have one port here, the RS485 port, which is used for the control of PTZ cameras that have special cabling for PTZ cameras. So that's the reason for this connection port. And of course, it requires a 12 volts DC power input. The DVR requires power input, so that's the reason for this power input here. So basically that is a recap of the ports on the DVR and their various functions. And I must mention that once you know how to or what connects into any of these ports on the DVR, that puts you on a sound footing whereby you should be able to set up an AHD CCTV camera system, because the DVR is what receives all the parts or all the systems that connect together to make up the AHD or analog CCTV installation. So if you're able to know what connects to any of these ports, then it means that you are already there to be able to set up an AHD CCTV camera system. So that is about the DVR and its associated ports. I mentioned that we are going to do three things. The first is to do a recap of the ports on the DVR, and I as well mentioned that we'll set up or install a surveillance drive or hard disk drive into the DVR. And so my surveillance drive or my hard disk drive is ready here for us to fix into the DVR. The necessary cables that will be used for that are also ready. Here they are. And so we'll go ahead and set up the hard disk drive into this digital video recorder. Now, before we even get to install it, let's look at the back of the DVR. Let me turn it this way. Here are provisions in which we'll be slotting in the hard disk drive into the digital video recorder, but we'll have to first open up the DVR before we can slot in the hard drive. And so there are screws on it. Let me turn it well. I will be opening these screws to have access into the inside of the DVR. So with the help of my screwdriver here, I will open it up. I will open up the DVR. Sorry for that. I'll open it up here. Okay, the first one is out. Let's do the second one. Okay, the second one is also out. I have a third one here. I'll remove it. Okay, so now that I've done that, the third screw is out. So this is what the DVR has. Let me show it to the camera. That's all that is in the DVR, and this is the provision or the position where we'll be mounting the hard disk drive or the surveillance drive. Now, this is still the back, and so before we go ahead and set up the hard drive into it, when you look at the hard drive, there are screw positions that have been made on it. Already I have screws into two screws into this point already, but these are screw provisions through which you can lock the hard drive into the digital video recorder. But I will use just two screws so that I don't waste much time on this one. The two screws that are already there, they could have as well be in the 4 positions, but I'm using only 2 to save time. What will happen is that I'll be locking them up in the holes here. So it means that we'll be locking only just 2 to save time, so we don't have to be screwing all those 4 in place. Now, before we even lock it up, let me adjust my camera to look into the inside very well. Okay, I think this is okay. All right, so as I mentioned, the screws will be locking into the holes that are in there. But I showed these two cables earlier on. These two cables are going to be used in connecting power and then also the data connection into the DVR. So let's try and connect the cables first. You would have to look at the way the cable comes. You see that there's the way the shape of this point is. You need to, when you look at this side, so you see that L-shaped thing. So you need to do it in a way that it matches. So I need to match it up so that it can really fit. Sorry, it's rather here. This connects to this point rather. So this is how it will connect. Fit it into it. So it means that the power cabling has been connected into the hard drive, and also the data connection. This is the connector that will be used for the data. This is what comes to this other point. So I'll look at it. Well, the shape that is there, I'll also connect it into it. So when it goes into it like that, then it means that you've connected the cabling onto the hard drive, and then we'll then fit the hard drive into its position. Then we can connect it to the board on the digital video recorder or the DVR. So this is all I'll do. I'll slide the hard drive in place and then make sure that the screw fits into the groove provided. So I'll just slip it in, and then the connections can then be made. Inside the digital video recorder, there are two positions for the hard drive. You can just connect it into it, and then this is the power connection as well. You check how the shape is, and then you can connect it into it and make sure it goes firm. So it means that the connection within the DVR is done. Now to lock the hard drive firmly, you can see that the screws we fitted in are showing at the back here. So with the help of the screwdriver, we'll just have to lock up the screws by tightening them up very securely. So my screwdriver is ready. I'll just tighten it up to lock up the DVR, or to lock up the hard drive into the DVR. So it is firmly in place. It is firmly in place now. And so my hard drive has been installed into the digital video recorder. The next thing to do is to just close the DVR by replacing the cover in the same manner we did in removing it. So when you put it in place, I'll lock up the screw positions again, and that does it for the installation of the hard drive into the DVR. So it's just a matter of screwing back or putting back the screws into their place, and then your hard drive installation is done for the DVR. Alright, so then I'll go back to my seat, and then I'll wrap up this lesson now. Alright, I'm so much glad you joined me in this presentation. I want you to keep the comments coming. I will answer each and every comment that comes on this channel. I want to remind you that in 2025, I will come your way every weekend with a live video session where I get to offer a lengthier explanation to questions that you ask on videos across my channel. It's not going to be just any single video, but every question that will come across my channel on all my videos, I will get to explain them on live video in 2025. So watch out for that. I'm so much glad you joined me in this session. But please, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification so that anytime we post a new video, you will be the first to be notified. Thank you so much once again. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.